What's going on? Born for Sports. Salute to New York Giant Nation. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and especially that subscribe button to Born for Sports. Well, Giant fans, here we are. It is over. The draft is now over. We pretty much know what direction that this first John Harbaugh draft is going with the direction of the football team, what his image is trying to show us as Giant fans. And I got to tell you, folks, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving the possibilities. I'm loving what we did. And now that I had some time to reflect and do some more research, I'm very happy with what I saw and what direction the Giants did. And also with all of the intel that has now come out the last couple of days of why they picked certain players in the slots they picked them. So, hey, this is Harbaugh's vision. And obviously, we got to trust in the process a Super Bowl, future Hall of Fame, I should say, winning coach. So I'm just going to talk about it because I'm excited. I'm excited what we did. And these are my early draft grades. And I preface early because obviously it's early. We don't know what these guys are going to be down the road in 2-3 years. We can only project. And that's what the draft is all about. It's about projecting what direction your franchise is going, especially in key positions. So here are my early draft grades, y'all. First thing I want to start with is Arvell Reese. Inside linebacker, edge, Ohio State. He went 5th overall. Unbelievably fell to the Giants at 5th overall. And let me tell you, folks, when it first happened, I thought when he was on the board, when the Giants were picking, the Giants were looking to trade out, but it sounds like they had no interest in doing that. They love Arvell Reese, and I do too as well, and I'm going to tell you why. At first, I had questions. I said, wait a minute, are we drafting another edge rusher? Because even though I feel like Arvell Reese's position right now is better an inside linebacker, were we really drafting him for that, or were we going to make him a predominant edge? Then came the Kayvon Thibodeau rumors. Maybe that's why they took him. They were planning to trade to Kayvon. Well, I'm very pleased to know Harbaugh, who came out publicly after he was drafted, said we have a great plan for him, and he is going to be on the team, and we want to add him to inside linebacker next to Tremaine Evans. And folks, I love that. I love that because to me, that is this kid's best position. Yes, he has pass rush ability, and down the road, he can become that. But you know what he is right now? And it's something the Giants defense needs for a long time. He's a menace. Yeah, he's a menace at the line of scrimmage. He's a great tackler, especially at point of attack against the run. And we all know what is the biggest issue with this New York Giant defense over the years? It's too soft at point of attack against the run. And he is one of those linebackers that you use, okay, to stop that. And with his pass rush ability and his sideline to sideline quickness, okay, he has that Micah Parsons type of skill set. Even though we don't know if he can get to that level of Micah Parsons, but you can certainly see why teams had him atop of the draft board. As the Giants admitted that he was on top of their draft. He was their number one non-quarterback player. And for a lot of months, everyone thought he was assumed to be going 2nd overall to the Jets. And for the Giants to get him there, tremendous. Now you got that front seven that's going to look real good, okay? And I'll get to that in a moment. But let's look at the stats. 69 tackles at Ohio State, 6.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss in 14 games. The guy is a menace at the line of scrimmage, and is exactly what this New York Giant needs. The New York Giant defense needs that kind of attitude on defense, man, especially with the loss of Dexter Lawrence. And I know with the loss of Dexter Lawrence, it doesn't help the run defense. I expect the Giants to, in the coming days, address defensive tackle. But I'll say this. You're talking about having Brian Burns on the field. You're talking about having Abdul Carter in year 2 on the field. Kayvon Thibodeau. And now you add this menace, this special talent who has the talent to be better than all of them on the field down the road. This is going to be fun to watch every Sunday this fall for the New York Giants. This is a defensive front seven that I expect to have offensive coordinators sweating and no sleep at night before game day. So my overall grade for this draft selection, I give it an A plus. Now that I had time to reflect and see what the plans were, because I didn't know how to react when we did our live stream during draft night, because I liked the pick, but I wasn't sure how we were going to use them. Now that Harbaugh has given the assurance of how they're going to use them, Denard Wilson, I know you're happy, and so am I. I give this an A plus pick. Arvell Reese has the potential to be the best player overall in this draft in about 2-3 years. So we'll see where he gets there, but you got to like what you see from the New York Giants here. So I'm giving it an A plus. Now, the next pick I got to talk about on my draft grade is Mr. Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle / guard from Miami. He went 10th overall. Now, point of attack, y'all know what I'm about, y'all. And the Giants' offensive line was pretty solid last year, but they're still pieces away from becoming an absolute menace on that side of the ball for this Giant offense, okay? And with the right guard spot being such a big, gigantic hole in this offense, I cannot fault the Giants going this direction, okay? I cannot fault them. My whole thing is I am hoping that his back is not a problem. There was some whispers about Mauigoa's back leading up into the draft, that he might have a disc issue that he has to eventually address. That's a red flag for me. You know, I actually thought we should have taken Vega from Penn State, who is the best guard prospect since Quentin Nelson at 10th overall. But one thing I did discover in the coming days after that selection, the Giants actually hired the athletic director trainer of Miami Hurricane University. So they definitely have the intel of the situation with Francis Mauigoa. So I have to trust in the process that the Giants are comfortable. And it's come out now that teams were actually trying to trade up in front of the Giants to select Mauigoa. So teams are comfortable with it. I got to be comfortable with it. You know what I mean? But it also ties into the fact that Caleb Downs was also available. Okay? It was also available, and as much as we would have loved this pick, and I think it probably was the better overall selection, if you're going best player available, this was a perfect match between need and best player. So I think the Giants had to do this. This was a need pick, and an absolute stud this guy is. As you can see, first-team All-American at right tackle. He ranks 7th with an 87.0 PFF pass block grade, physical role grader in the run game. I can't wait to see this. He's going to be at right guard. Now you got the great Andrew Thomas, okay, on the left side. Yeah, you got Runyon. He's probably the sore spot along with JMS at center. But if you want to help your center, you got to have some pretty damn good interior offensive guards, I should say, with them to help that out. And I think this is a great move, especially the fact that we re-up Illuminor at right tackle. So in a couple of years, if Illuminor starts to fade away, you can even slide Mauigoa over there to tackle. But right now, I love the way the makeup of this offensive line is going, and I love what the Giants did here. The Giants at point of attack is going to be even better than they were last year if these guys stay healthy. Because honestly, I think that as good as Greg Van Roten and solid as he was for us last year, he's long in the tooth. He's an older player. This is an upgrade over him at that position, as long as Mauigoa is healthy. So I'm going to give this draft grade a B. It can also become an A as well if the back holds up. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a question mark. But again, teams are comfortable with the medicals. I got to go by that. And the fact I have to tie into the fact that Caleb Downs was also on the board. So we passed on Downs for him. If Mauigoa becomes the player that he's supposed to be, this is an A grade down the road. As we all know, this is an early draft grade. So right now I'll give it a B, but it can definitely become an A in like 2 more years for sure. So now the next pick as we had was Colton Hood, cornerback, Tennessee, in the second round. Let me tell you something, folks. I didn't think that Colton Hood was dropping to round 2. I didn't think there was any chance he was gonna drop there. Okay, this is excellent value from the Giants here. Okay, especially with his teammate at Tennessee, McCoy's injury at making him fall back and fall down the scale a prospect list for a lot of teams. A lot of teams had him off their draft board. You would think Carlton Hood, who had a really good year last year, would have been a first-round pick. I didn't think there was any shot. I even saw that he was 21st on Daniel Jeremiah's, list of top prospects coming into the draft. I like Carlton Hood a lot. I think the fact the league actually passed on him was a shocker to me. Last year's stats, just look at his stats last year, okay? Last year, he had 50 tackles. He had 5 tackles for loss, 9 PBUs, and a pick 6, and allowed only 28 receptions and 52 targets with an overall PF cover grade of 80.3. That's pretty damn good, okay, considering he was the number 1 guy with McCoy missing the season last year. This guy is not afraid. He's got that dog in him at corner that you need. He is a physical press man attack corner at the line of scrimmage, and I absolutely love that. I love corners that play that way. I've been screaming for the Giants to get corners that play that way more often. None of this drop back and sit in zone crap that Bowen had them doing. I like press man cover corners like that, and he's not afraid to mix it up and help in the run game. I love this pick. I think ultimately this kid's going to be a starter. If it ain't right out the gate, it will be very soon during the season. And he is going to, corner's a tough position of a rookie to come in right away to have an impact. But I think eventually as the season goes on and he gets comfortable in this scheme, Denard Wilson's going to quickly find out that he's got to get this kid snaps on the field more than the other guys we have, especially that no-good bump Deonte Banks. So, yes, I love this pick, man. And I just think getting him in the second round, I have to give this an A on top of what I already like about the kid. This is a steal, I think, potentially for the Giants in round 2. And it was such a need pick more than so many other positions. I thought coming into this draft, the Giants' biggest needs were at guard and at corner, and they addressed it. There's 2 of their first 3 picks in this draft, and I got to give this an A. This is a first-round corner. We got into round 2, so salute to John Harbaugh and Joe Shane doing that. Got to give them credit on that, man. So this pick here in round 3, Malachi Fields, wide receiver, Notre Dame. Look, I think he's a solid, talented receiver. The production that you're going to see statistically wise is not going to be something that's going to jump out. Last year, 36 catches, 630 yards, 5 touchdowns, but he averaged 17.5 yards per catch in 12 games, and I like that a lot. So that goes to show you he has big playability. Now, he's not a burner, but he's a point of catch, big catch radius, attack the football, 50-50 guy. That's the kind of receiver he is, and the Giants have needed that big receiver for so long. 6'4", 218. This guy has the talent. He's made all of those acrobatic point of catch rate catches his whole entire career, especially at Notre Dame. Now, the numbers are not going to pop at you because they were a running team. As you know, they had Jeremiah Love, who went 3rd overall in this draft. Some people feel he's top 2 best prospect in the draft. And, they threw it to him a lot as well. So there wasn't a tremendous amount of opportunities, and the quarterback play was already shaky as it is in Notre Dame. So it wasn't a ton of opportunities, but when he got opportunities, he made plays. And I like what they see there. I like this move. The only thing was that I didn't like was we gave up a 4th and 5th round pick in this draft, along with a 4th for next year, just to move up. Now, I understand why they did it, because if that's your guy, you feel like he's your guy, you go get him, especially with the fact that we didn't have a 3rd round pick in this draft coming in. And also, next year, the Giants have a 4th round comp pick that's being projected to them. So they probably felt, hey, this is a guy we really want. We got to go get him. He's not going to last. Then there was intel that came out. Miami Dolphins actually were going to take him a pick later. So you got to give salute to Joe Shane. One thing about Joe Shane, he has a good feel for when teams are with his contacts around the league, when a team is eyeing a certain player. He jumped up and got him. Hopefully this isn't a Jalen Hyatt screw up on the trade up. But I wasn't thrilled with trading a 4th, 5th round pick in this year's draft, but he did and got his guy. So if he becomes what he's supposed to be for this, it'll be a good move. And I'll put this draft grade right now at B- because of that part of the trade where we had to trade up to get him. But if he becomes the player we need, and what we think he can become, definitely elevated that draft grade in 2 years for sure as well. Now, we had 3 6th-round picks. Here's the first one, Bobby Jamison Travis, Auburn nose tackle. He was the first 6th-round pick that we had. His numbers last year, 36 tackles, led all Auburn D-line in tackles. His PFF rush defensive grade was a solid 84.6 and was a key part of Auburn's team having a top 10 rush defense in the country. So he's a nose tackle. We already know that is a need for the Giants. I expect them to address interior defensive linemen in the next few days, weeks, if that. But this was a need pick, and I think they got decent value right here. So I'm not mad about that. Hey, obviously Dex is a big loss, and he's not going to be Dex. Nobody is. But, hey, if the direction of this defense Harbaugh wants to do is be more physical and stronger at point of attack to stop the run, I'm all for it. So 6th round, I felt like it was decent, pretty good, draft value. So I give it a B. The next one, second 6th-round pick, is J.C. Davis, offensive tackle of Illinois. Now, let me tell y'all something. I actually think this could be the steal pick of our entire draft class if the Giants can decide what position he's best suited for. Maybe it's guard, we'll see. But this is a very underrated stat that I was very surprised to see. In 2025, he was 5th in college with an 86.7 PFF run blocking grade, okay, which was 5th at his position. And his overall offensive grade at his position was 87.8, ranked him 6th overall for OTs in college. This could be a steal right here, man. It honestly could. Maybe he's our left guard of the future when Runya's numbers come off the books, or maybe he's a left tackle that you could kind of like develop behind Andrew Thomas. As Andrew Thomas is getting older, we know his injury history. So I actually like this pick a lot. I think the depth on this offensive line definitely had to be addressed. And I like it, especially because I don't want to see Falale. I already know he's going to probably make the team because of his history with John Harbaugh. But then you're talking about guys like Evan Neal and Azudu. I'm done with those guys. I like this pick. I'm going to give this draft grade a B because he could potentially be an important piece down the road for the football team, whether it's a swing tackle or guard or maybe a possible starter. I like this move a lot. And the last pick here of the Giants draft was Jack Kelly, linebacker from BYU. I admit it, I didn't know much about him, but I saw some highlights and read his numbers. I see why the Giants took a stab at it here. 55 total tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, and he had 10 sacks in 12 games. And I believe can bring special teams value. The guy plays hard. He jumps out on tape for BYU. He made plays. So, hey, why not take him in the 6th round? You develop him. Worst came to worst. We all know how much John Harbaugh loves his special teams. Maybe that's his future for the Giants, or maybe possibly push to get in a rotation for some snaps in pass rushing situations for the New York Giants. We will see. With Denard Wilson, he's got a nice little value there for the Giants as well as Harbaugh. So that's a solid move, I think, for a 6th-round pick. So I'm not even mad at it. That was my grade for that. So my overall draft grade, I'm going to give this class as a B+. I love the fact that this was not we looking for toys kind of draft. We're looking for the beef. We're looking for point of attack. We're looking for menace. We're looking to establish line of scrimmage, point of attack football, and that's John Harbaugh's MO, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And if Mary Noah's development and his back holds up, I think this is going to turn into a draft grade for me down the road in 2 years. But I love what the Giants did. They went after it here for the trenches, and obviously, my favorite pick is Arvell Reese because of the way they are going to use him. I don't have questions about that right there. And I just think the pass rush is just turned into is going to be an absolute beast, okay, even without Dexter Lawrence on this team. I love the fact that the Giants said we need to be menaces up front, and Arvell Reese can be a big part of that. So that is my overall draft grade, a B+. New York Giant Nation, salute. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this early draft grade that I have on this draft class. And let me know your favorite or your least favorite picks in this draft class. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Born for Sports. Let's go shopping.